Hi guys, Dr. J back here again. We're going to go over the next lesson for strumming, and that is in the palm mute. So we're going to use a palm mute specifically for faster songs, and it's so useful because you can kind of engage the palm mute to kind of change up the sound while not necessarily changing up the rhythm and speed of the song. By palm muting also, you're creating a lot of kind of a big distinction between sounds. The human ear is easily tricked, and if you're playing loudly the whole time, the ears will adjust to the volume, and then it'll bring everything down. And so even though you're playing with all your might on the strings and you're playing as loud as you can, there's somehow not really the sense that it's really that loud, if you kind of catch what I mean. Like your ears eventually adjust to that volume if you're playing at a consistent volume. But if you're, let's say if you're playing a palm mute, which brings the volume down here, and then if you play without a mute, the volume suddenly goes like this. And even though the same volume of sound that you're playing here, as per if you were just playing loudly the whole time, suddenly the ears get this sense that, wow, that's really loud, right? And kind of what I mean by that is, if let's say I just hack away like this, like that, right? After a while, well, number one's grating on your ears, but the second thing is your ears kind of adjust to that, and if you want to make a song go somewhere and make shape out of it, and then let's say if that's your verse, where do you go to get any louder to do a chorus, right? Like, where do you go with that? You can't make it any louder. You're already at your loudest point. The palm mute is your answer to that question for some applications, and that's really a matter of taste, right? I'm thinking about certain songs that come to mind, certain faster songs. Again, I'm thinking like Deep Cries Out would be a good one. Here's how I would play that. Like that, right? So you hear how I'm throwing in an openly strummed thing, and you can hear a big distinction between a palm mute and non, right? So how does that work? Let's practice that and learn. So how do I do that? The palm mute is achieved by this part of your palm. This part of your palm is down on the strings around here. So when I'm playing I'm playing with this part of my palm, the edge of the palm where the pinky is. There's kind of like this padding there, right? That padding goes and rests on like kind of the bottom part of the thing. I'm not doing it here, I'm doing it back here near to where the bridge is on the guitar. So I'm going like that. So I'm playing and muting at the same time. So these the strings are hit by the pick at the same time as I'm muting. So how does that work? I'm playing like that. I'm oftentimes not even hitting these top strings because they really don't matter too much. You want to make sure you bite these three and maybe that fourth one if you can get the G, but it's important that you hit these three, you know, the bottom register notes. It's important you get those and grab them because they make a nice bassy radiant sound. You want that kind of sound. Not so important that you get all six. Three, fourth one if you can get it, doesn't really matter. It's like you're almost like chopping. You're doing this kind of chopping motion, but you're purposefully putting the padding of your hand on the thing. So let's practice that really slowly, just doing quarter note palm mute chops. Okay, so let's do it slowly. And let's do it in G. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so let's do that again. 4 bars. 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, So that's 4 bars of the palm mute, and that's just kind of get it in your hands. Once you kind of get that mastered, and believe me, it's going to take many more times than just those 4 bars. Once you kind of get that in your hands, it's time to incorporate that into a song. So how does that work? So most of the palm mutes, what I do, I'm doing down strums for most of them, right? So if you're doing it fast, it's kind of not really feasible or possible for you to chop like this, too fast, right? So what I do is I go down, and then while my palm is still down, with just these 2 fingers, I'll just go like that, and I'll pluck again the muted 3 strings, like this. My palm is still down there, and I'm just doing a twist of the wrist to get the pick to cross these 3 strings. So it's like every other note I'm doing another palm mute chop, right? So let's practice that. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. Final round. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. So let's speed that up and get it to actually a song that would use a speed useful for a song. Okay, let's speed it up. Let's be 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right. So that's a pretty good speed, and that's something that might be useful. And then you're going to have to kind of speed it up more for certain songs. For really fast songs, you're going to have to go, like that fast, and that would be kind of useful there. So how do we get that open strum sound out of there? And that takes a little bit of practice, and I'm not sure what my hands do actually. It's kind of muscle memory for me right now, so bear with me. Let's try and make that work. Okay, so let's do the beginning of Deep Cries Out, what I would do there. Okay, so what I do, it's important that there's economy of motion. You don't want your hands swinging that far. What I did there is I again do that kind of chop. So it's the strum is not the chop, but it's that, when I did that wrist wiggle, I removed the palm mute, is what I just did. And then what I did instead, I allowed the strings to ring, and then I muted it right away. So you get that kind of back sound, right? Right? It's what I just did there. So that takes a little practice. So you allow the strings to ring for like a split second, and then put the mute right back on. And let's try that. So let's try that slowly. 1, 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and. Okay, so I do it on the end of the 4. It's like after 4 of these things, it's that last one. Okay, let's practice that, and let's see what I'm doing. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. And 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. So that's how that goes. Let's do it a little bit faster next time, and let's do a bunch of bars of that to get that in your hands, okay? Let's do that kind of, that same thing. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. 1, 2. Last go. Okay, So there's that, and then one more time, let's do it faster. Let's do it at at the speed of the actual song. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so you can tell that if we keep doing it like that with no variation, kind of get boring, right? So you kind of have to syncopate it and mix it up a little bit. So, and that I leave that up to you, but it's important for you to kind of learn how to the technique of palm muting and not, and to kind of mixing in those strums in there so that you can build this kind of nice attacking sound, right? So there we are with that, the palm mute strum. And we're just getting you started on that. This is not a tutorial that's going to take you through every single possible combination and syncopation, but this is a good place to start. All right, so you got to get that in your hand, so I encourage you to just keep on playing.